Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, the Versace Stunner, with another episode of VSW. Thank you. We're going to hop right into it. It's me, your boy, the Versace Stunner. We're back from Tampa. I am with the Wolves here. We're talking night 2 of WrestleMania 37. You know, we were there. We saw the history. You know, the first ever WrestleMania to be delayed in the rain. We covered night 1 in our last podcast. This is going to be our night 2. And what do we have? How did we open this up tonight?
With great entrances of Randy Orton versus The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, which we're all fired up for. I kind of wish this match didn't open unless they were going to go a cinematic route later and do half an hour.
I mean, let me tell you something. This was the one of the matches that, you know, when we first read our card and we first did our predictions, don't mind me, I'm just on our road. We're going to get our other friend, Michael Panchu from, you know, the Lightzilla podcast. He came to WrestleMania with us, too. He came in on a later flight, though, so we're going to pick him up right now. So we're on the way to the airport, and we're going to do this podcast. But now, what I was saying is, in our original, preview of this WrestleMania, we kind of said night 2 was going to be the stronger night. And we were looking forward to it. This was one of the matches that I was thinking was going to make night 2 more stronger.
I thought this was going to be treated as a co-main event, but it wasn't.
No, and in a way, it was treated as a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a squash match, no. We either decided it was going to go either a good match or a squash match, but it wasn't a good match either. I mean, it just was very bizarre. First of all, we saw The Fiend come back unburnt.
Like in a Jack in the Box, too, with
we saw the
Alexa
Jack in the
Bliss's entrance. The crowd was chanting, "Holy bleep." We were so excited. It was awesome.
We saw all that, but then we saw The Fiend, and he wasn't burnt anymore. He didn't have that mask, that burnt mask anymore. He was healed. And this was a little bit strange. I will say, they didn't really continue how he looked, at the last pay-per-view, which was only a couple of weeks ago.
Absolutely.
Fine, whatever. But, they had The Fiend lose this match in a way. Alexa Bliss started, with the black slime out of her head.
And it was a really interesting thing to see. Kind of disturbing, but it was pretty neat.
It was neat, but it distracted The Fiend, who, is being shown not to be the most powerful person in this storyline.
And he was putting the mandible claw not once, but twice on Randy Orton.
And then Randy came back and took the victory, and I think this is
an RKO out of nowhere, right when Alexa Bliss was bleeding, distracted The Fiend for an RKO out of nowhere.
And, and I'm sorry, I think this hurts The Fiend. He's been hurt ever since. He was hurt ever since that Hell in the Cell match with Seth Rollins. They ended that poorly.
And the Saudi match with Goldberg.
And don't even talk about that. That buried him. I mean, from then it's been just blood. And, you have to build the storyline. We haven't seen the good classic storyline that we used to see with them. We don't see that happy Bray that made it creepy. That's what really made it creepy. Just The Fiend alone didn't make it creepy. That just made it another horror gimmick. Another Undertaker, another Papa Shango, another Boogeyman. Okay, what made it creepy was that 1 minute he was this happy Mr. Rogers kind of guy.
Or Pee Wee Herman.
Pee Wee Herman type.
Yeah.
And that was what made it kind of creepy. And, 1 minute he's going high, and the next minute he's like, yowie wowie. This is what made it interesting. We don't have that anymore, and I feel like it's just flat. The whole Fiend situation is getting bizarre. The Alexa Bliss storyline is getting bizarre. It's just not where it should be as far as, where The Fiend should be, as he was a year ago. A year ago, this guy was the hottest thing. That match with him and Cena was the greatest match almost,
I love that cinematic tease.
Of WrestleMania night 2. It was, some people say it was the best match. It was the greatest cinematic match, in my opinion. It had a lot of great elements. Fiend was on top then, number 1 merch seller. Now it's Bad Bunny's the number 1 merch seller. And that's fine. He killed it. But, I mean, what's that say about The Fiend and his character and what's happened to him in the last year? It's not good. It's not good for Bray, who's, can start off very strong with his characters and then end up still a year or two later. It's happened before. It ain't the first time.
Not at all, Versace. Especially what led him to be The Fiend is he would always go attack people, starting feuds with the Wyatt family. Rest in peace, Brody Lee, Luke Harper, and Eric Rowan.
I did like the little tribute he did, to Luke Harper, Brody Lee. I did like that. Okay.
But he would always lose big matches, and he's kind of, outside of his win versus Cena at Mania, he's never won any big feuds, I feel like.
No, he really hasn't, except, when when he was being The Fiend, and he started to win again, and he started to become on top, and he was champion, and he was this, and he was that, and he took out some of the greatest, legends in the game. He attacked them. Even, he got the victory over, at SummerSlam over, what's his name there? The Prince. Prince Devitt there. He got that win at SummerSlam. Right before he went to NXT. Sorry, I still call him Prince Devitt. I just can't call him Finn Balor. I just can't. I just don't know him by that name. I just know him by Prince Devitt. Even him knows himself by Prince Devitt because he says things like the Prince.
It's even on his logo and T-shirt.
It is. He does everything to do it to keep that alive because he knows he owns that, and Vince can't say nothing. Vince owns Finn. Vince wants to keep that name. But, I mean, this was just a very disappointing match, in my opinion. And I don't think it was the best way to open up Night 2 of Mania. We didn't have a delay, but this kind of...
And the crowd was really upset, too.
The crowd was wicked upset, and this kind of stunted.
And then they just disappeared.
Oh, yeah, right
after Alexa Bliss distracted The Fiend, bleeding black blood.
She just disappeared.
But anyways, let's move on. We did cover the women's tag match, which Nia and Shayna retained over Natalya and Tamina. In the Night 1 podcast, we combined the two women's tag matches. So we're going to go on with our third match of the night. A night which I wish went way longer, no disqualification. It's the chemistry and best friends of Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens with Logan Paul as a special guest enforcer.
Another kind of disappointing match in a way. I was very excited with this because the roles would change of who was face and who was heel. Like you said, they had faced each other before, but, KO was... The roles were reversed. Right?
Yeah.
I forget who was the heel and face at the time, but...
Well, KO was the heel. He started attacking Sami since he won the NXT title.
Yeah, when he first came in, he was pretty vicious.
Yeah, very vicious indeed.
But, and it was kind of different now, and this had been changed. I don't know if Logan Paul needed to really be there to make this feud successful. I think it was fine without him.
I think he was in the way because Kevin Owens said ever since last year he wanted to jump off the pirate ship, but there was a perfect opportunity for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. That should have been like a street fight, I feel like.
It should have been. Listen, let's not shit each other here. Kevin Owens is a tremendous entertainer. He's not afraid to do spots. Look at his last matches that he had, at the last event. He went crazy. He's always done these great jumps. For someone that's his size, yeah. That's great. Look at how he let Braun just toss him off the cage. He's let Braun throw him around. He's not afraid to take a bump. He should have been able to do that spot. I like Kevin Owens. I just think he's been lost in the shuffle. They don't know really what to do with him. He's not, WWE champion material. They haven't put a belt around him in a minute. When's the last time he's held gold?
I think the last time KO's held gold was when he was a Universal Champion a while back, to be honest with you.
It's been a while. No mid-card titles, no nothing. So, I mean...
He has won Intercontinental and U.S. title in the past, though.
In the past, yeah, but nothing recent. Nothing within the last year.
He kept having the great feud with Roman Reigns that he could never get the victory over. Kept getting screwed.
And then he had that comedy with Braun Strowman. So, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like they misuse Kevin Owens all the time. But overall, it was a good match. It was enjoyable.
Especially when Sami Zayn was screaming at Logan Paul, and Logan Paul attacked him, when Sami Zayn, as this crazy conspiracy theorist, been saying that SmackDown's been screwing him ever since he was the Intercontinental Champion and went back home during the pandemic. And Logan Paul just killed. And then the crowd booed him. We were all getting crazy. We wanted Kevin Owens to pull Stone Cold and stun him, and he gave the crowd what they wanted.
He did. I think it was a good moment for him.
But it was a decent match. They powerbombed each other and everything, but I feel like it could have been way better as a street fight.
You think the right winner won?
Absolutely, Kevin Owens won. You could have Sami Zayn. He's hilarious, but he could team with Kevin Owens. They have great chemistry, best of friends. They could go for the SmackDown tag team
They
titles.
remind me of Gargano and Ciampa in their chemistry. They definitely do.
They could have as much chemistry as Shawn Michaels or Triple H, too. But
they could. Eventually, down the line, they really could. What other match did we have next after that one?
Oh, let me see here, Versace. The next match after that was after a backstage segment with the Dream Tag Team of Riddle, defend his U.S. title against Sheamus.
Yeah, I mean, I was okay with this match. It was better than I expected. Definitely better than I expected. I didn't think it was going to be that good of a match. To be honest with you, I thought it was going to open the show.
I thought it was going to be this. It depends on what opened the show. If the women's match had opened the show, it would have been second easily.
If it was a pre-show, it would have been on the pre-show.
But I think this match really delivered for a match no one was really looking forward to.
It did.
And it was thrown the last minute because Sheamus looked really good in his feud with Drew McIntyre and Fastlane.
He did, and I'm liking the style that Sheamus has been bringing. Riddle has been, doing his thing. And I think that, I think they both delivered for us at WrestleMania night. I mean, like I said, I wasn't expecting much of this match at all. I didn't even, I didn't know where it was going to go, but...
I'll admit there was a little bit of the botches when they jumped from the top rope when Riddle failed to carry Sheamus. But Sheamus jumped from the top rope and delivered, but he really bro-kicked the high brain of, pun intended, Matt Riddle to really get this victory. But it was a great match overall.
It really was. It really
surprised me how good it was.
It was the surprise match of the night, I think.
But maybe you could have Sheamus versus Keith Lee in the future.
Let's see some more stars, Let's see some more of these NXT people that have been brought up doing something.
Because I don't think Riddle really needs a U.S. title. I really want to see Riddle face a legend someday because he had beef with Lesnar and Goldberg, which the fans enjoyed.
He could fight Goldberg, and the other thing is, with title shots, Aleister Black needs some gold around his back eventually, He really does.
I really miss him and Keith Lee Versace.
I really do, and I just don't get it. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Because Keith Lee was supposed to be U.S. champ by now if he didn't back out at the Elimination Chamber match against Riddle and John Morrison.
And
but
Aleister Black, he was NXT champ. These people have just done, good... They've done good things in NXT that just haven't transcended into the main roster. And I just don't get why. It just confuses me.
Me too, especially with a show where they really built the future around. Could have had plenty of NXT talent.
But you have these people in the Rumble, to not have them at the Mania just does not make sense to me.
Absolutely, Versace. So... let's move on to our next match, shall we?
Oh, for sure.
The next match of Mania Night 2 after that was the Nigerian drum match for the Intercontinental Champion.
I like this fucking match, okay?
It really was pretty good for how short it was. It delivered big time.
I like gimmick matches. I'm a gimmick wrestler fan. I like the old 80s style strap matches. I like all these kind of matches. They used to do the weird, bizarre matches that happened all through the ages. I mean, we had kennel matches, infernal matches. We had panty and bra matches. We've had hair versus hair. We've had, all sorts of crazy, insane
We had a dumpster match in Boston.
We had a dumpster match in Boston, exactly. We've had Hollywood street fights. I love this shit. I eat it up. I love these kind of matches. And, to have this one...
And there was perfect way to elevate a feud which happened so many times for the IC title between Big E, the IC champion, solo from the New Day, versus a brand new and improved Nigerian style of Apollo Crews.
Who actually is now the new champion, is he not?
Yeah, because some NXT guy that Apollo hired came and attacked Big E after he delivered a big ending through Apollo. He did a great job through this match. It's really good because I had a hard time booking this match if I were WWE, because you want Apollo to have the IC title, but at the same time, you need to build Big E to be a future main event.
Especially as he's now in the singles, realm of things, and not with, he's with the New Day kind of, but it's not the same. It's totally different now. And you want to build him as a single champion, you do have to make him look strong. I think they did make him look strong, though, and I'm glad that they're giving Apollo the push, because he's been a little still lately. He hasn't really got enough push.
The problem with Apollo is he was called up way too early when they first did a brand split 5 years ago in the Worcester brand split when they separated the rosters. He should have stayed in NXT way longer. He has amazing backflips with someone his size.
He's very agile,
Very athletic. And I like his new gimmick, kind of like a Black Panther type tribute, I feel like.
It is, definitely. He had that Nigerian warlord kind of feel to it with that other guy that was huge. It was definitely, it kind of stunned me how good this match was. Like you said, I think just the gimmick match alone made a regular match better. And, it wasn't the longest match, but I think it was the right length.
Exactly, and you had a new guy from NXT who no one really knows his name come and attack Big E, and it was great because you had Big E not lose clean or make him look weak.
Exactly. And I think that's the whole key to this. You can have almost anybody win or lose as long as you don't make them look weak.
And it's like, you could have Big E if they can't get The Rock face Roman for the Universal title next year.
You could. You really could.
People thought that was going to happen this year before they decided on their route of Edge winning it, which we will get into later.
Oh, yeah.
But I really loved this match. It was really good for a short match, especially. It was perfect timing, told a story, gets you to look forward to the future of the IC title. You got Shinsuke Nakamura, and I really want to see Cesaro beat Apollo, have the title for a little longer, but I really want Cesaro to be IC champ real bad.
Oh, Cesaro needs that gold around his waist. He deserves it. It's one of those people that just really deserve it.
An Intercontinental title should be for evaluating European talent like Cesaro up to the next level, like Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels or even Stone Cold The Rock and Triple H held that before they won the WWE title. And I really want it to be upper like AEW treats their TNT championship.
Oh, for sure, disabled. And I think, with some of these title changes that happen, I think that the championships are going to have some more prestige to them. I really do.
We really need that, especially with our Milecard championships.
They do. They fell off. The IC championship used to mean something.
Especially with Macho Man, Ricky Steamboat, Ultimate Warrior.
All these guys.
If I were a wrestler, I really don't want to win a world title right away. I'd rather win the IC title. It's a title I really would want to win.
The IC title, has the prestige.
I love the history with WrestleMania in that title. Could go on for days.
For sure.
So, ready to move on?
Oh, I am. I'm ready to move on to the next match.
So, right before the main event, we had the Raw Women's Champion, Asuka, defend her title against Rhea Ripley, who returned to the main roster after a huge hiatus.
I have to say, I was very excited for this match. I'm a Rhea Ripley fan. I think she was kind of robbed out of everything last year with everything that happened.
Absolutely, especially since they were in the Performance Center. It was supposed to evaluate NXT to the next level. Didn't.
But you know what? She delivered this year. She is the new champion. She defeated Asuka, who has never won it. I don't think she has ever won at a WrestleMania
Just
either.
like Sasha Banks.
Sasha Banks.
They should face each other next year to see who gets their first win.
Exactly. I mean, that's almost like, that's some kind of like bad luck, opposite of Undertaker's streak kind of wrestling.
More like Peter Avalon and Brandon Cutler from AEW.
Yeah, they never won a match either.
Well, Brandon Cutler beat Peter Avalon for
Who was the guy in WWE with the longest streak there?
Kurt Hawkins.
Kurt Hawkins. I never forget. He said if we win, we get tacos. They threw him through the tacos.
That was hilarious.
That was good fun. Should have never let them go. But, that was a good women's match. It was good. I enjoyed it. I think the fans enjoyed it as well. I heard people screaming for Ripley.
We all thought they were going to add Charlotte or even Becky to this match.
Well, yeah, that's just the thing. But speaking of adding people, they did add someone to the main event.
Absolutely. Let's go on to the main event of the evening, shall we?
We shall. And,
I loved this match. It was my favorite as expected. All three of those guys could have made a case for being a great Mania moment, no matter who wins. You had Reigns as his monster heel that they built up since SummerSlam, finally where he should be. He should have never been this huge babyface Vince tried to push him as. And you have the lovely, typical babyface of Daniel Bryan, who could always put on a good match and be dependable for the main events. And you got for the first 10 years ago to this day of night 2, where he was medically disqualified, Edge coming from a Royal Rumble win to look to repeat itself for 10 years and capture the gold as a tweener heel route he was going through. I just love this match for Sachi.
It was great. It was great.
My favorite moment was when they beat up Jey Uso on the table, and there was a lot of fights outside the ring, in the ring, using kendo sticks. It's everything you wanted at a Mania main event, no matter how you felt about the card.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. This, to me, was what WrestleMania is all about. The title on the line. Everybody, giving it their all. I think they did. You got 3 top-level superstars wrestling. All of them have been in the main event scene at one time or another. Edge, the only man...
And the crowd was really awake for that.
I just think it just was a great match overall. I am glad... no matter who won this match, I think I would have been happy with.
I was saying that in our Night 2 preview podcast. I was happy with no matter who won this match.
Exactly, but I think they did go with the decision of making Roman look strong, and they made him look very strong.
Because, like they said, this was rumored to build for the future and think of next year's Mania. If you're going to have a Roman vs. Rock match in front of 100,000 people at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium for WrestleMania 38, you can't have Roman. I knew Roman, the only thing guaranteed about this match is Roman wasn't going to pin and especially tap out.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I didn't think that was going to happen. But I wasn't sure, who was going to really take the belt at the end. I didn't know. Edge could have easily taken it.
Because they could have had a go-home moment for the first time in the pandemic. But we should have saw Roman winning coming, especially how they put over Bianca Belair and send the fans home happy Saturday night?
Oh yeah, and I mean, I think everybody was happy with the way that it went. I do think that I think the fans were very happy with it all. I don't think they were disappointed in that main event at all. Like I said, the fans were happy no matter who won that match. Even if Daniel Bryan had pulled it off as the underdog and walked away with the title, there would be fans that would still be happy with that.
Absolutely, Versace. And I loved how they gave us a tease in the camera cut angle when Edge used the famous crossface finisher for someone who he can't really name, Chris Benoit, and then Daniel Bryan came in to do his yes lock, and then they were headbutting each other trying to tap out Roman Reigns with a Edge even used a steel chair stick to even try to make Reigns tap last night. And you had Daniel Bryan do the yes kicks back and forth between them. I loved the combo moves. All three of those men had great chemistry.
It was, and they really delivered for WrestleMania to really close out the show, and I was impressed. And, I liked, like I said, how they made Roman look strong by pinning both of them at the same time. This is like Andre the Style kind of tactics, but it was very effective. All I'm going to say about it overall, WrestleMania, being there was great. I love being there and live. It was great to see fans again. My God, was it great. It was great to be one of them. But for WrestleMania, I was a little disappointed in some of the things, that I didn't see. I didn't see any surprise guests, really, or any...
Like, we really thought... What disappointed me the most is when Hogan and Titus came out right before the main event, and they had Bayley interrupt. And we all thought Becky could have returned, or even Charlotte or anybody, or even Trish or Lita. But they brought out the Bellas, who were there last night to attack.
I mean, it's unnecessary, and it wasn't just, it just wasn't...
And the crowd was behind Bayley the whole time.
They were, actually. What you heard on TV wasn't actually what was going on. They were piping in chairs and boos for that. But Bayley, they liked her character. And I think... just not having the surprise, nobody showing up, nobody interfering.
No, I wish Undertaker just showed up.
Even if you just saw him on the Titantron, I think it would have been something. Even if you just saw Cena calling in on the Titantron, some kind of a tease, something, I think it would have been a little bit of something. It was a very weird WrestleMania. Definitely a transitional mania, in my opinion, where you didn't have these older stars. The oldest star that you had from any generation there was Shane McMahon.
Or Edge.
Or Edge, yes. Edge and Shane McMahon. Shane even before Edge, though.
Absolutely, Versace. And the thing is that my biggest problem with the Mania, you had 2 nights. It was really good. Everyone, I felt like, did a good job for the most part, which is shocking because I know there were some people very unhappy or very happy. What made me unhappy as disabled is, as someone who watches more than just WWE wrestling, I love big events to go for have most matches that people look forward to go for at least 15 minutes and have the wrestlers execute their finishers on each other. I really wish some of the matches were longer than like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I think that could have made Mania so much better if they added more time instead of rushing through everything.
Oh, I agree for sure, 100%. I think that, I don't know. I kind of think we only needed one night.
Especially this year. I'm fine with the old format next year.
Whatever they do, I'll be interested to see. I'll be there. We will be there in Dallas.
We gotta be there. They're gonna make WrestleCon Access probably bigger since they didn't really have they didn't have an Access at all this year, and WrestleCon was just a shell of what it normally is.
No, we didn't have really anything this year, so it was kind of interesting. I'll be interested to see what they do next year.
I really think they're going to do Roman versus The Rock. I'm kind of disappointed. I said in my Night 2 preview podcast, Versace, that the only way I could see them having Roman walk out is I really wish The Rock came out after to even do a stare down to type up either next year's Mania or the year after in LA. It's just, I'm surprised they sent the heel home without any a return confronting him, even if it was Brock Lesnar.
Oh, for sure. But you know what? There's some long storytelling here, long-term storytelling here, and I think we have to just kind of wait and watch and see where this goes. But I think our friend is ready, and we're pretty much out of time with this episode. We might do one more with question and answers of what we thought, were the best moments, best matches, and so forth. We'll see how Mr. Panchu is feeling tonight after just landing just now. If he's up to it, we'll have him do it. If not, we will be back with you live with more action, probably Thursday night. So just tune in and listen to the VSW podcast with your host here, Versace Stoner
and Disabled. And before I sign out, I just want to let you guys know that I will have a big announcement with my next project with VSW coming on Marathon Monday, what should have been Marathon Monday on Patriots Day, to have me reveal my next project. Stay tuned and pay attention to our Twitters on @VSW Podcast. Disabled signing out.
Versace out.